The air inside Starbar 9 was thick with spice and ozone, a mix of alien perfumes that clung to Jack's Rourke's leather jacket. The cantina was alive, a kaleidoscope of sights and sounds. Above, luminescent banners pulsed with shifting glyphs in 3 languages. Below, a crowd of beings from a dozen worlds packed the floor, laughter and bartering spilling into the hum of hovering engines overhead. Somewhere in the distance, a low mechanical drone vibrated like the heartbeat of the station itself. Jack stepped in from the platform above, boots clanging against a grated steel. His fingers tightened around his bike helmet, the last piece of home he carried. He scanned the crowd with the detached confidence of a biker used to being unwelcome everywhere. But here, on the fringe of civilized space, that was exactly the point. Then she appeared. Lyra Kess moved between tables, balancing a tray of glowing drinks that shimmered like captured stars. Her skin was pale silk woven with threads of bioluminescence, a faint, shifting glow along her shoulders and arms. The light traced strange patterns that made her look half goddess, half mystery. Humans weren't the only rare thing in the galaxy, but Lyra's beauty was rare enough to stop Jack's mid-step. He wasn't paying attention. A sudden bump sent him forward. His shoulder struck hers, and the tray tipped. Crystal goblets clattered to the floor. Lyra gasped, the glow along her skin flaring bright, like a warning. Her voice was sharp. "Watch it, meatbag." Jax grinned, but his grin vanished when he saw her expression. Half shock, half outrage. His hand reached instinctively to steady her, but his fingers caught the edge of her tunic. The fabric tore with a soft rip. The bar froze. A dozen conversations cut off in mid-sentence. Drinks stilled in their holders. Even the humming engine seemed to hush. Beneath the torn tunic, an intricate tattoo covered her chest. It was not just ink. It shimmered like living metal, etched in spirals that pulsed softly with a golden light. The pattern was unmistakable to Jax, though he didn't know why. Lyra's breath hitched. She yanked her tunic closed with a trembling hand. "You've seen something you shouldn't," she hissed, her voice trembling between fear and fury. Jax blinked. Around them, alien patrons, scaled, faceted, tentacled, turned to stare. Some whispered in languages he couldn't name. The tension in the air was palpable, like the moment before a storm breaks. "Relax," Jack said, though his voice was quieter now. His biker instincts were telling him she wasn't just angry, she was afraid. "I mean it." Lyra's glow dimmed slightly, but her eyes never left his. "Meaning doesn't matter. You've set things in motion. And now..." She glanced toward the back exit, where shadowy figures were moving fast. "We have to go." The hum of Starbar 9 seemed to shift, heavier now. Somewhere deep in station, engines roared to life. Jax grinned. Trouble, he thought. Just another night. But this time, the stakes were galaxy-sized. The rear airlock of Starbar 9 reeked of burnt synth coffee and ion grease. Jax and Lyra slipped into the narrow corridor behind the bar, their boots echoing softly on the metal plating. Above them, a lattice of glowing conduits pulsed with erratic light, the station's nervous heartbeat. Somewhere beyond the hull, the faint hum of a Starliner's engine thrummed through the walls. Lyra moved fast, her bioluminescent skin dimmed to a nervous glow. She kept glancing over her shoulder, every step a careful calculation. Jax followed, hands brushing the bike jacket he'd worn through too many fights, sensing her tension like the scent of ozone before a storm. "Why'd you tear my tunic?" Lyra hissed suddenly, stopping at a recessed alcove where a blast shield door opened to a maintenance shaft. Her voice was low, but sharp. "I didn't mean to," Jack said, running a hand through his dark, greasy hair. "But whatever that was on your chest, you've got people who don't want it seen." She stiffened, glancing at him. "It's not just ink, biker. That mark, It's an ancient human crest, lost for centuries. And I never thought I'd see it again. Jax frowned. He'd fought in cantinas across 3 sectors, but the way her voice cracked made him pay attention. A crest? Humans? You're telling me humans are legends out here. Lyra's gaze went distant, as if she were staring through him into centuries past. Humans built worlds once. We shaped galaxies. Every culture here knows the story, or fears it. The Mark says I'm the last of them, the Marked One. Jax let her words hang in the dim corridor. A faint hiss came from behind them. He glanced back. Shadows stretched in the airlock like living fingers. Figures moved in stealth, clad in black uniforms with alien sigils. They found us, Lyra said softly. They've been hunting me since I was born. Her voice cracked, but she squared her shoulders. That mark isn't just history. It's a map, a key to something the galaxy hasn't seen in 1,000 years. Whoever controls it, she paused, swallowing hard, controls the fate of every world. Jax's gut tightened. He knew this wasn't about a torn shirt anymore. Then what are we waiting for? She looked at him, eyes luminous in the dark. We leave now. They'll kill me if we stay. Their boots clanged down the corridor as they slipped into the station's lower levels, where the air smelled of metal and salt water from the docking bays. They passed corridors alive with alien chatter, a dozen tongues weaving together in an unending hum. Jax noted the way the aliens gave them wary looks, as if sensing something dangerous in their presence. Finally, Lyra stopped before a service door marked with glyphs of a language Jax didn't recognize. She keyed a code into a worn keypad. The door slid open to reveal a gleaming hoverbike, humming softly, its engine like a living thing. Jax swung himself onto it, without a word, glancing back at her. You sure about this? Lyra's glow pulsed faintly. There's no choice anymore. The hoverbike roared to life, and with a sharp burst, they shot into the dark heart of the station. Behind them, the airlock sealed with mechanical sigh. Somewhere in Starbar 9, a dozen voices cried out in alarm. The hunt had begun. The corridors of Starbar 9 gave way to the sprawling void beyond, the endless black threaded with starfire and drifting wreckage. Jax leaned forward on the hoverbike, the windless vacuum replaced by the hum and vibration of the bike's grav drives. Lyra clung tightly, her bioluminescent skin dim, but pulsing with tension. The station's outer docking ring came into view, a sprawling tangle of trade decks, glowing docking bays, and drifting ships of every shape and origin. Known as the Starforge, it was a rogue world, a drifting bazaar of outlaw cultures, black market traders, and forgotten relics of old wars. Jax had been here once before, but never with as much trouble breathing down his neck. They dropped through an open airlock like skydivers falling into a world without gravity, weaving between massive ships suspended like drifting leviathans. Around them, the Starforge roared with life, pulsating hoload and alien scripts, the low hum of fusion cores, and the scent of sizzling synth meats from open food stalls. Vendors shouted in dozens of tongues, hawking everything from crystalline starfish to quantum forgeries. A flash of movement caught Lyra's eye. Her grip on Jax tightened. They're here. Jax's visor lit with the HUD glow of a dozen targeting systems. Ahead, figures in dark armor melted through the crowds. Hunters of Crest, mercenaries who'd hunted her since birth. Their armor shimmered with stealth fields, and their weapons glowed with alien energy. Jax glanced back at her. We gotta split them up, he said, voice low. If we can make it to the Black Bazaar, we can disappear. Lyra's jaw tightened, her shoulders stiff. It's not enough. They want the mark, and they'll follow it. This is bigger than me, than us. She glanced down at her chest, with a faint glow of her tattoo pulsed beneath her tunic. It's a key to something no one alive has seen. Jax kicked the hoverbike into a burst of speed. They dove into the chaos of the Starforge. Around them, vendors and aliens scattered, some curious, some hostile. They cut through narrow docking corridors where the hum of engines was deafening, weaving between crates of exotic cargo that rattled under the passing breeze of their drive. A sudden spray of laser fire lit the darkness ahead. Sparks hissed against the bike's hull. Jack swore and banked sharply, slamming the bike into a hidden maintenance tunnel. They slammed through the opening into a chamber glowing with vats of liquid metal, a black market tech forge. Alien machinists paused to stare at them, tools in hand, as the bike roared past. Lyra gasped, "This isn't just about survival, is it?" Jack shot her a glance through the visor, the gleam of determination in his voice. "No, you're carrying a piece of something the galaxy forgot, and if they get it, there won't be anywhere safe for humans again." Somewhere in the depths of Starforge, a low, metallic voice spoke in an alien tongue. A warning. They were not alone. The core world were unlike anything Jax had ever seen, a constellation of cities orbiting a dying star, connected by shimmering corridors of light. The Council Citadel floated in the center, a massive structure of black crystal and humming energy fields. It radiated authority, but also something colder, suspicion. Jax and Lyra arrived aboard a civilian shuttle, escorted under heavy guard. The corridor into the council chamber smelled of ionized air and alien incense. Their footsteps echoed through a hall lined with statues of beings from countless worlds, each carved with reverence, except the human figure. There was none. Humanity was not forgotten here. They were myth. Inside, the council waited, a semicircle of alien delegates, each radiating power in their own way. They were tall and serpentine, others short and crystalline, some translucent and humming with strange light. At their center sat High Speaker Varen, his skin the color of molten brass, eyes deep as supernovae. His gaze rested on Lyra like a blade. "You carry the crest of man." Varen's voice was deep, resonant, vibrating through the chamber. "We have long believed it to be a story, not reality." His gaze flicked to Jax. "And yet here you stand, a human among myths." Jax's jaw tightened. "We're still here. We've survived. And we've never been afraid to fight." His voice echoed with the stubborn pride of a species long underestimated. Varen inclined his head. "That pride has made your kind dangerous." He gestured toward Lyra. "The mark is a key, a weapon, a choice. If it falls to the wrong hands, it will reshape the galaxy." Lyra stepped forward. Her voice was calm but firm. "It's not a weapon. It's our legacy, and the choice belongs to us." A ripple of murmurs passed through the chamber. Aliens turned to her, some curious, some fearful. Varen's eyes narrowed. "The question is whether humans are ready to carry such power. History tells us perhaps not." Jax took a step forward, placing his hand on Lyra's shoulder. "We've made it this far because we adapt, because we survive when everyone else gives up, and because we care. That's what makes us human." The chamber was silent. For the first time, the council seemed uncertain. Then Varen spoke again, his voice lower. "If you claim this legacy, then you must prove it. Humans are rare in these times. Prove your worth to us." From the shadows, a door opened. Dark armored figures stepped forward, weapons humming with alien energy. Jax's instincts flared. This was not a trial of words. "They're not here to debate," Lyra said softly. "They're here to kill me." Jax's grip tightened on his jacket. "Then we give them a fight they'll never forget." Outside the Citadel, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Somewhere far away, a war was beginning. The core world's night sky was ablaze. Above them, alien warships cut arcs of fire through the void, their hulls shimmering like living crystal. The council's chamber had erupted into chaos hours ago. Now, a full-scale battle raged. Somewhere in the distance, the hum of 1,000 engines blended with the deep thrum of war. Jax and Lyra stood together on the bridge of a battered human warship, the Aegis Dawn. Its hull was scarred from centuries of unknown battles, but it still carried the stubborn pride of humanity. Around them, a ragtag crew of humans and aliens prepared for the assault. The air was thick with tension and the scent of charged plasma. Lyra's mark glowed brighter than ever, a living map etched in gold light across her chest. "They've found the Nexus," she said quietly. "If they take it," her voice broke, "they'll control everything." Jax's jaw tightened. "Not if we stop them." His voice carried the stubborn certainty humans were known for, a refusal to back down when the odds were against them. He tapped a sequence into control panel, and the warship systems roared to life. "We got one shot at this." Outside the viewport, the alien fleet converged, a storm of shapes and light. Jax leaned into the controls, his knuckles whitening. "Lock weapons. Engage the charge sequence." The ship shuddered under strain, engines screaming through the void. Around them, the crew moved like a single organism, their movements precise, efficient. Humans shouted orders, clear, defiant commands, cutting through the alien chaos. Lyra stepped beside Jax, her skin pulsing with light. "You really think we can do this?" Jax glanced at her, his voice quiet but certain. "Humans always do." The first volley hit. The ship rocked, alarms blaring, sparks dancing in the air. The battle became a blur. Alien ships tearing through the void, plasma fire blooming like deadly flowers, the hum of engines rising into a deafening crescendo. Jax weaved the Aegis Dawn through the chaos, every move a blend of instinct and defiance. Then came the moment, the heart of the Nexus. The mark on Lyra's chest flared, and the warship responded as if drawn to it. Energy rippled outward, a wave that bent reality itself. Alien ships faltered, their weapons flaring and dying. Jax saw it then. The crest was not just a key. It was humanity's legacy, the power to turn despair into victory. The battle ended in silence. The alien fleet broke apart, retreating into the void. The Aegis Dawn drifted, battered but alive. Around them, crew members cheered quietly, weary but triumphant. Lyra turned to Jax, her voice trembling. "We did it. We really did it." Jax pulled her close, helmet resting against her glowing skin. "We're human. That's what we do." Outside the bridge, the core world star shone a little brighter. Somewhere, a galaxy was changing forever. The battle was over. The core world still shimmered in the distance, a web of light and shadow cast across the dying star they orbited. Outside the bridge of the Aegis Dawn, the void was quiet now, save for the soft hum of distant engines and the faint crackle of energy still lingering in the air. Inside, the crew moved quietly. The fight had cost them dearly. Scars ran deep, faces were tired, and shoulders stooped. But there was a different air here now, something lighter, almost hopeful. Somewhere, a galaxy's balance had shifted. Jax leaned against the viewport, his helmet resting under one arm. The neon glow of the core worlds reflected across his face, painting him in shades of gold and silver. Lyra stood beside him, her bioluminescence fading to a gentle pulse. Her tunic was stitched and worn, but the mark on her chest still glowed faintly, a living memory of what they had survived. "You know," she said softly, "I thought if they found me, it would mean the end of everything." She turned to him, her gaze steady. "But maybe it was just the beginning." Jax looked at her, a faint grin tugging at his lips. "Beginnings are what humans do best." He brushed a hand against her arm, careful despite the scars. "We adapt. We survive. We keep going, even when the odds are stacked against us. Lyra's glow brightened briefly, like a heartbeat in the dark, and now the galaxy knows it. They stepped into the lower deck together, past the hum of revived engines and the murmur of crew members cleaning and repairing. The air carried the scent of ozone, metal, and something indefinably human, stubbornness. In the mess hall, the crew gathered quietly, sharing drinks salvaged from a battle. The languages were many, but laughter and relief were universal. Jack slid onto an empty bench, the leather of his jacket creaking under him. Lyra joined him, her shoulder brushing his. The weight of everything they'd faced seemed to settle between them. She looked down at her chest, the mark now dim and soft. "It's just a tattoo," she said, almost to herself. Jack shook his head. "No, it's a story, a warning, a promise." He paused, eyes fixed on the stars beyond the hull. "It says humans matter, that we make a difference, that no matter how dark the galaxy gets, we rise." Lyra smiled faintly, her glow pulsing gently against his arm. "Then we keep going." They rose together, stepping onto bridge. Outside, the stars stretched into infinity. The core worlds faded behind them. Somewhere ahead lay the unknown, dangerous, beautiful, full of promise. The hum of the Aegis Dawn's engine swelled, and Jax knew they were ready. As they slipped into the endless black, the glow of her mark lingered, a living reminder that humanity had survived and would survive again. The galaxy would remember. The bridge of the Aegis Dawn was quiet now. The battle was over. Beyond the viewport, a new constellation glittered. Alien suns and drifting moons, their light spilling across the hull like blessings. Somewhere far ahead, the core world shrank to a shimmering jewel in the void, their neon-lit cities fading into legend. The hum of the ship's engines was steady, a heartbeat in the silence. Jack stood beside Lyra, her bioluminescent glow faint but steady. The mark on her chest pulsed softly, like a living memory. She turned toward him, eyes reflecting the starlight. For a long moment they said nothing, the weight of war and victory filling the air between them. Finally, Jack spoke, his voice low and certain. "We survived this. Not because we're strong, but because we never stopped fighting for each other." Lyra smiled, her glow brightening. "That's what makes us human." He reached for her hand. It was small in his, warm and alive. Around them, the ship's crew worked quietly, preparing for whatever lay ahead. But for this moment, there was no war, no hunters, no legends. There was just them. Jax pulled her close, and for the first time in months, the galaxy felt still. "Then let's keep going," he said. "Together." She rested her head on his shoulder, and the mark pulsed once, bright and certain. The Aegis Dawn slipped forward into the infinite dark, carrying humanity's stubborn light. The stars waited,